4.
Hey, Tom, how's it going? What's happening? What projects you been up to? Diesel, easy Diesel. Don't yank. Diesel's going to yank the computer down. But yeah, that's Tom from On the Plan, Arizona. He's got the chickens, and he built that coop out of stuff that he had too. So what's going on? We're going to talk.
Give everybody a few minutes to get in.
Yeah, we're going to give everybody a few minutes to come on in and everything. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit about using what you have on hand to complete your projects and stuff like that. So I brought the expert. He's really good at that. And I got my blanket because it's cool out here. We actually had to turn the pellet stove on because it was cool. And Diesel, he's just running around. But yeah, we're just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to come on in. Hey, how's it going, Bland's Promised Land? Good to see you guys here. Really appreciate you being here. We're just waiting a few minutes for everybody to come on in.
Yes, we're doing well as we can out here in South Dakota. The weather's been kind of changing rapidly. We've gone from warm days back to cold days, and it looks like after this week it's gonna start to be in the 70s and 80 degrees. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. Diesel decided to photobomb. Oh, that's good. You guys worked on the garden all day. Well, you got some killer cabbage. I was watching your video yesterday on that deconstructed egg roll. We've got to make that. That looks really, really good. We struggle to get cabbage growing here, though, because we have a short growing season. So we don't always get, don't always have the luck with growing things that take a while, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We planted some today, too. We planted tomatoes and peppers. Or I guess I did early this morning. I seem to have pretty good luck. Well, we've only been here 2 years, but the tomatoes were going well. Peppers, I did get a few peppers. We also had planted some asparagus this year, and I'm looking forward to those, seeing what they do over the next couple of years. But they're starting to come up.
Yep. And I'm just looking at my phone for the comments, so it's easier for me to respond on there. Hey, Kelly, welcome. Kelly said we love you, Lisa and Ryan. Yeah. Yay for peppers and tomatoes. No kidding.
Yeah. We planted the potatoes. I guess we planted potatoes last week or the week before. So that's my first time planting those. I think we mentioned in other videos, but looking forward to see what those do. But I guess we'll try to stay on topic today on being thrifty when it comes to the projects you're doing. But we're open to any kind of questions. We don't need to really stick with that. But
yeah, well, I want to go back to a couple comments. Tom was saying the wind here kept the temps in check. Boy, I don't recall it being this windy so long, although it's usually warmer, so I'll take it. And then Monica was saying they've never done asparagus before.
Yeah, this is my first time doing them as well. I've read a little bit about them, but I know Lisa's father was really successful with them in upstate New York when we lived up in New England, and I'm trying them out here. I don't see why they wouldn't be successful, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah. And Tom said that the stream didn't start. He had to exit, and then he came back in. Well, we appreciate it. Sorry for the inconvenience. So, yeah, tonight we wanted to talk about wanted to talk a little bit about being thrifty and using things that you have on the homestead. If you watch a lot of our videos, we tend to do that. Buying something is a last resort. And then if we do have to buy something, we try to do something really thriftily. So, for example, we've reached the point where we need to do a fence for the pigs because honestly, the electric netting fence is not going to keep Sherman back when the ladies go in heat eventually. So we want to be able to put them in a secure fence and keep them safe so we don't come home and find out they're gone. So, but what we did was there was a Memorial Day sale on hog panel at Fleet Farm, and we ended up going to get the supplies for that today and some T-posts. But then we also, a while back, what's the fencing that we bought a while back?
It's just, I don't know if they call it page wire. It's similar to what you use for horses. It's 4 to 5 feet tall, probably 5 feet tall. I'd say 6 by 8 inch square openings.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be what I would consider probably be a multi-use fence. Our plan is when we do install it is to put a hot wire along the bottom for the pigs, obviously. So we'd have a electric fence charger on it.
Yeah, and the good news is the pigs are already
Trained.
yeah, they're already trained to an electric fence, and so it's not like it's hurting them. They walk right up to it. They know not to go to it. I think for me, the biggest thing is, not wanting the electric fence up near the barns where I feed them because I like to be able to just reach over and feed them. But
yeah.
I hate having to turn everything off just to do that. And then Sherman isn't a full-size pig though, right? Sherman is a Kuni boar, and we got him mid-March. And so he's working on being a full-size pig.
Yeah, I'd say he would, I'd say he'd get probably just below 200 pounds, I would think, from other ones that I've seen. I may be off on that, but I'd say he'd be between 150 and 200 pounds.
Yeah, I think I read that some Kuni boars can be 250. I don't think he'll get that big. He is a purebred Kuni, but he is growing a lot quicker and a lot bigger than the girls are. The girls are a lot more dainty, if you will.
Well, they're still young though.
Yeah, they're still young. But yeah, the little girls are doing really great too. What I love about the Kuni pigs is a lot less mess, a lot less mud, and honestly, they are so friendly, so tame, and they'll walk around the yard with you,
Yeah. I can't believe that you see that from Bland's Promised Land Ranch, a 550-pound Tamworth. Yeah, that's a large pig.
That's a large pig. We went to visit a fellow homesteader up in about an hour or so from us, and he had a Berkshire sow, and she had just had a litter of like 12 babies, and he invited us up to see them, and they were less than a day old. This sow was like 500 pounds easy.
She was large. They're large animals.
Really large animals. And so we have Maggie and Winston, and those are the two Mangalitsa, Duroc, and Berkshire crosses. We're going to use those for meat. And they're a lot bigger. They grew a lot bigger. So I can see that. But yeah, they are really, really cute. Red wattles are cute pigs too. I like the way they look. They're awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to the thrifty. So what did you want to share about that?
Yeah, it's just one of the things that I guess is what I do a lot of is I tend to plan a lot and obsess a lot about what we're going to do, or I just like to plan for, I guess, the future. So I'm always, one of the things I always am on the lookout for is either on Craigslist, yard sales, even driving along the side of the road, anything that I see that I think I can use, and perhaps I don't even use it someday, but that's just how I've always been. If there's a good deal, whether it's, something somebody's getting rid of, within reason, but stuff that we can definitely use around the house. I do tend to look for those items.
Yep.
But that's the main thing is knowing kind of what you want to do out a year or two or with 6 months, whatever it is, but always be on the lookout. And perhaps everybody kind of does this, but I've done it for a long time, and even, stuff that I probably don't use, but I think it's one of the ways you can save a lot of money. I mean, if you know you're going to add, and you're going to, for example, add a shelter or something like that in the next year, just be on the lookout for any kind of lumber, whether it's from pallets or somebody's taking something down. For example, today, where we live, on Facebook Marketplace, I saw a chicken coop. It was free for the taking. You just had to disassemble it and get it out of there. It was in the area. And even if it's, it was used as a chicken coop, but there may be some other type of enclosure, or I don't know, truck caps. Those would make at least it gives you a start for a roof.
Yep.
You see those truck toppers, I think some people refer them to, but you may be able to find those free or cheap, and that's a good way to start. At least gives you a roof and a starting place. It's most of that stuff is made out of fiberglass or aluminum.
Yep.
And it's easy to deal with for drilling holes, fastening it to wood. And again, it all depends on what your priorities are. If your priority is functionality and usefulness, you really don't care what it looks like, as long as it takes care of the animals. But if you want a nicer, I guess, I don't know if show place is the right term, but if you're particular about what you want to get. But with the cost of wood and steel, everything has gone up dramatically. So anything you can do to find different materials for construction, anything will really work.
Yeah, Monica, Bland's Promise Ranch was saying we like that Home Depot has cut wood that is marked down to 75% off in the back. It's purple striped, and she said we collect wood so we have it when we need it. Free is best. Yeah, free is awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, excuse me,
we do that too. Even if there's 2x4s, 2x6s, plywood, any type of building material, it's free. Haul it off, or where you see free pallets, and not only pallets, but a lot of companies or industries get in different types of packing crates. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there if you know where to look, and you stay on top of it. But it doesn't take up a lot of room, especially if you disassemble the pallets or those crates, or any type of lumber.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was when we went and we built the pig barn where Maggie and Winston are. We looked at the price of lumber, and of course, lumber has gone up insane. And so what Ryan ended up doing was there's a sawmill right down the road, right? So now we're supporting local, and it's Aaron, but we're supporting local. And not only that, we got rough cut pine. So rough cut pine worked really well for that barn. And how much cheaper was it?
I'd say it was probably half.
About half the cost of it.
A little, right around a half. And for barns and for shelters or anything like that, rough cut lumber is rough cut pine. A softwood is fine for that. Yep.
Hey, Aaron, glad you were able to drop in. I know you got some stuff going on. Everybody's saying, hey, that's super. Yeah, so rough cut pine, so it supports a local sawmill, which is really good. We actually plan to go back there and ask him about sawdust because we know that he burns it. So we were going to ask him about getting a truckload of sawdust for animal housing. So that way for the pigs, especially where we change it out all the time, we want to get some sawdust. Sherman especially likes to urinate in his house. So we change it out a lot. Whereas Maggie and Winston don't do that anymore. They grew out of that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what are you've been really good about doing some like every time we go to do something, you go down to the garage and you pull out from your stash. And Tom says, LOL, Sherman, who doesn't? Tom, are you peeing in your house? But here's the thing, like, that's what's really cool. He goes down, he looks at what we need, and then he goes down to the garage and he searches through the garage. Next thing you know, he's got this whole plan. And the duck house was a good example of that. The duck house was all leftovers.
Yep.
So that was really, really cool. You want to talk a little bit about the duck house?
Yeah, mostly that was pallet wood and steel siding and roofing we had left over from the pig barn. And I look at that too. The other thing I've, found out, where we are here now, I see a lot of online auctions, so that are in the local area. So I keep an eye on those to see if there's anything from building materials to equipment, any type of hardware, anything like that. You can always use screws, nails, hinges, those types of things. And if the price is right, that's what I tend to do. Even, I don't go overboard on buying these things, but if it's something I know we have something coming up and I can use it, for example, like a pail of screws or nails, which I have plenty of, and I continue to get, but you just never know.
Well, the hinges.
Hinges. Yes. I was at a yard sale and there was a bucket of hinges and I really only wanted 2. And I think they were 50 cents a piece, and there was a whole pail of them. And the guy said, gentleman selling the stuff says to me, $5, will you take the whole pail? Then I said, well, sure, because I only needed the 2. I think it was for one of our garden gates at the time. But then that pail of hinges I bought, I ended up using them on 2, on the pig barn, on the duck house. And, I used a bunch of them. So it's.
Yeah. So if you watched our video on the duck house, it was supposed to be the duck house. And then we had that whole debacle with the ducks, and the ducks are now in the other coop. And it's now the little pig house.
Yeah.
But the cool part about it is Ryan bent these hinges. So the roof was on a slant, obviously, to let the snow slide off of it because it was a steel roof. But the really cool part was he put the hinges on, and we're able to lift the roof up because we couldn't get in this building because it was small. And so the great thing about it is being able to hinge the roof allowed us to open it up. He put a bar on it, and then we were able to get in there and clean the shavings out. So tonight we've been feeding the little girls in their house at night because we feel they're little and we don't want a predator to get them. So what we end up doing is just open up the house. We got everything in there and they were good to go. Put some barn lime in there to freshen up their shavings and they were good to go. But Monica was saying you sound so much like Eric. That's exactly how he does it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're, onto something a lot of people aren't, but, I think it always pays to, look anywhere you can save money. I mean, it just makes sense.
And hey,
my mind. I mean, some people I know. I think Lisa said this in another video. When we first got together and married, I was kind of the same way, and where she came from, they didn't do that. I mean, their garage was spotless. It just had the cars. Where when we had bought a house with a garage. I know my father-in-law said, "Oh, that's great. At least we'll have a place to park the car." And I said, "No, it'll be filled with supplies and other stuff I'd come across." But eventually I gave in, and for the last 10 or so years, Lisa has had a place to park her car. So, but I just make sure we find that kind of stuff and keep it on hand.
Yeah, and I don't have a car anymore. We sold it. So I'm now driving. We have too many vehicles here. Ryan has a work truck. He's got the Dodge diesel that's underneath the carport. And then I'm driving his Chevy now back and forth to work. And then I see Alicia came in, Country Mama Musings. Hey, Alicia, thanks for coming.
Yeah, so now with the car gone, we do have more room in the garage.
Well, now we have a side-by-side in there that we
Yeah.
leave in there. And then, you know, we've been parking our trucks outside now, but once the winter comes back, it'll be like,
Yeah.
but I think, so like we had the coop. I'm trying to think about, it's crazy because we had barns on the property when we moved in. We had a bunch of different buildings, and we had to do a lot with the chicken coop when we started, and we've talked about that before, but I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that was mostly lumber we acquired.
Yeah.
I acquired from pallets and such.
What about the meat bird coop?
The meat bird coop, we just pretty much relocated, and there was some rotten boards and stuff because it was on the property when we bought it. But yeah, I had the wood available to fix that, put a new floor in it. Vents, the same thing. I picked up ridge vents or eave vents for a house. Again, yard sale, they were 25 cents a piece or something. I said, oh, I'll use them someday, and then sure enough, we use them on the meat bird coop.
Yep.
And all the hardware, the same thing. One of the things, see people pick up, or you can get them, and we have a couple of them, but cable reels. Well, there's people, I guess, use them for, goats and stuff to jump on. Well, what I've done is disassembled them. So that gives you, depending on the width of the cable reel, gives you all that threaded rod that holds it together.
Yeah.
So that'll you can use for, just clean the end up, put a new nut on it, and you can use those for bolts or anything else. And that's what I tend to do. And at the very, we even wood like that, if with the scraps or anything else, our garage has a wood stove in it. So we use it for, if we're not using it for something else, we use it for heat.
Yep. Tom's making some Step Brothers references. He said more room for activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Alicia, Country Mama, was telling him about his Step Brothers references, and he said, "Did we just become best friends?" Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the other thing was the pig, in addition to the pig barn, just to go back to that, when we built the pig pen, we ended up getting a cattle panel from people.
Yeah.
That we knew.
Yeah.
A couple places we got some cattle panel, and then we only had to buy the rest. And then we only had to buy a couple of, I think a roll of wire because they were piglets.
Yeah, we had to buy. Of course, you're going to have to do that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
in general, if we know what we knew we were getting the ducks. We knew we were getting the pigs. But the pig barn was all new supplies.
Yeah.
Primarily.
And then we made a lot of the scraps, like we talked about. And I think, and then we also bought. We tried to do things a little more thriftily. We bought electric netting fencing, holly wire fencing, and that was really good. Oh, Diesel's barking at something like nothing.
Yeah, I see. Bland's Promised Land Ranch, being on one of those neighborhood sites is helpful as well. Yes, I do go on one of those that's on Facebook out here where we're at, and I think I've gotten a few things.
Yep.
From that, but yeah, those are real helpful. There's a couple. I guess Diesel wants to come in and say hi.
Diesel wants to say hi.
So those are a very good resource to find.
Yeah, I look on
supplies in your area.
Yeah, I look on Craigslist all the time. In fact, that's how I found out
the greenhouse.
That's how I found the greenhouse. Oh, hang on a minute. All right, Kelly, have a good night. Diesel says good night. Yeah, I mean, we were sitting here last weekend, and I don't know, we weren't doing much, but we were sitting here. Oh, because it was raining. Now I remember. We were sitting here and it was raining. And so what we ended up doing was I was sitting here scrolling on my phone, and next thing I know, I said, hey, there's a greenhouse, and next thing I know, we drove up to Sturgis to get a greenhouse, and we didn't get back till 8 o'clock that night. Hey, LG, thanks for coming in. Welcome, welcome, LG Homestead. So yeah, I mean, so we ended up getting that greenhouse for $50, and all we had to do was dismantle it and bring it home. And so we're going to find a place for it, put that up. I think the other thing we've done, I was trying to think of what other stuff, silly things like, the strawberry box. The strawberry box was a really good example of using thrifty stuff. So we ended up cutting a tree down. Ryan rough cut it with a chainsaw, made it fit together. We threw some dirt in it, some sheep manure and some other dirt products. And that's our little strawberry bed now. And then we ended up taking some cattle panel, leftover scraps, hooked it together, and
to keep the deer out.
Yeah, to keep the deer out. So we've got that. The hugelkultur bed.
Yeah,
was
that
another.
was also scrap wood as well, and siding.
Yeah, the hugelkultur bed that we have, our raised bed, that if you guys saw if you didn't see the hugelkultur bed, I think we did the bed before we started doing YouTube.
Yeah.
But I did a video that was on Ridge Life where we covered it with frost. So basically what it was, we bought new wood, 2x4s, but then we had found the siding. And then on the inside of the hugelkultur bed was cardboard, tree brush, tree trunks. And then we were worried it was too much pine. So we ended up putting some sheep manure in there because it was really cheap for mace. And then you only end up putting about, 2 feet of dirt and a compost. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah, it is worth the time to, search those sites. And, I've driven before for stuff that's free for, a couple hours. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Compared to the new materials and what they cost.
So Tom was like, diesel. And then Erica and Monica, she was saying it helps you reuse things over for different animals too. We bought kid play fence a few years ago for a fraction of the initial cost about 5 years ago. Used it for bunnies, chicks, ducklings. Yeah, we are a huge fan of multi-purpose buildings. All of our buildings are, even the chicken coop, I think, right, with a little bit of renovation. But other than that, everything on our homestead we can use for multiple animals. So, for example, when we built the pig barn, we made sure it had a floor in it. We knew it was cold in South Dakota. Let's put a floor in it. If we decided to get goats and we decided not to do pigs, we can use it for a different animal. The duck house, perfect example. We've talked about that a million times. We built it for the ducks. Mm-hmm. The ducks didn't do well.
Didn't even go in it.
Didn't even go in it. So we ended up putting them in the coop or in the chicken run. And now the little pigs are in there. So it's just worked out really well. And we do that a lot. And then all we do is spray it, clean it up, spray it with vinegar, and then lay some new shavings down, and it's good to go. Yeah, sometimes it just takes time. I'd rather drive 2 hours for something free or dirt cheap.
Yeah.
That time you spend searching is so worth it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Alicia was saying that greenhouse, what a great find. Yeah, the greenhouse was a great find. I've been on Craigslist. I found Winston and Maggie on Craigslist. I found Sherman on Craigslist. It was really funny when we were looking into Sherman and Diesel's trying to play with me and he's getting the cord. Thanks, Diesel. Hey, Eliza, welcome. So when we were on Craigslist, I was working out a deal with somebody who had pigs in North Dakota. And, we realized we had to have a health certificate because, let's face it, we'd be driving a pickup truck. You got to do the right thing because we'd be driving a pickup truck and we would be obvious. So with 2 pigs in the back. So what we ended up doing was talking to this woman about it. And then we ended up saying, I don't know if I want to go that far. Long story short, we ended up finding the ranch that has the coonies that we've been getting from. So we got Sherman, Eleanor, and Fiona there. Diesel is so funny. Look at this. I got a toy here. But yeah, it's really, really, really cool. So I think I know once before I did a public apology to Ryan because, like he said, when we first got married, I was like, why are we keeping all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're homesteading, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go get this. It's free. So, for example, we looked on Craigslist earlier and they had some tin panels. And of course, it was an antique store looking to sell them for a lot of money a piece. So that was a bit much, but we're on the lookout. So what are some thrifty ideas that you guys come up with? I know that Alicia has often talked about she has access to cattle panels from her sister, I think her sister's farm. But what are some other thrifty things that you do? I'm curious. I know that a lot of you are really good at doing things thriftily. I know Alicia did some planters out of some chairs that are really awesome in her garden. And I know Bland's Promise Ranch was talking about a play fence that, you know, was cheap and they've used it for so many animals. And I know that Tom from On the Plant has been doing things also a little bit at a time. And I know the price of concrete has gone up. But what
The one thing, we had when we first got our first dog, Yogi, we had a pet crate. And then once he didn't use it, we sold it. And then we moved again, so we needed to get another one. So when I bought that one, I said, we're not getting rid of it. We put it in the closet and left it there. Well, then we go on to get Diesel. We transport him in it. We have it now. We've used it for bringing home Fiona, Eleanor, and Sherman. And I also use it when we process birds.
Yep.
Chickens, because you know you can probably put 10 or 12 or perhaps a little more in there, but it's easy to reach into, get the birds. And that's one of those things. It's like we had it and was like, well, we don't need it. The dog's not used it anymore. And then, you know, after having to buy another one, that's when I said, well, we're not doing this again. So we ended up keeping it. It's in the rafter in the garage, up in the rafters for storage. But that thing has been really handy and for many things.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up using that crate in the back of a truck, and we were able to put Sherman in it. And then I was a little nervous when I rode out to get Eleanor and Fiona, but we ended up putting that in the back and wrapping it in a tarp, so it was really good. Welcome, Tina Ladybug. We're glad to have you here. Thanks for coming. And yeah, LG Homestead, the price of everything has gone up. It's insane. What was the price of the cedar? Tell them about the window.
Oh, we had done a project earlier. I guess it was late December, early January. I had to replace some windows. And I went to order Cedar Siding. And at that time, I couldn't get it. They quoted me a price of, I guess it was a 12-foot piece of siding. So it's 3/4 inch thick on one end and then 10 inches wide I think it was 60 some odd dollars a piece. Well, finally, remember now, this was in January. I got a call this week from the place I'm buying it here in town, and it's finally in their warehouse, but they said the price had now gone up to, I think it was $110 or $112 a piece.
Jeez.
So I had bought enough to do, I was going to buy enough to do additional windows in the house. What I ended up doing is cutting the order in half, and just enough now to get the window that I have to finish.
Yeah.
And perhaps another one or two, but I was just amazed at how much, 5 months, the price change. And, I asked the question, I said, well, do you foresee the prices going down? And his response was they don't see softening in the price until September or October. So what does that mean? A couple of dollars, who knows? But
we ordered that in February.
Right.
We literally replaced that window in February, and we ordered the wood then and still don't have it.
Yeah, and still have it. And that's one of the things too, even if you they didn't offer like a prepay option, because in hindsight, I probably would have done that, but I think it goes on what the price is at the time. So if it's there, you'll pay the price. If you have to order it in, you pay whatever it is when it comes in.
Yep. And I'm sorry, the computer's moving. Diesel is just trying to play here. But I wanted to go back to a couple comments. LG was talking about the price of everything going up. And then Eliza was saying there's been B-board in the walls we used after termite infestation, the memorial wall of 2020 remodeling. Yeah, it's good too.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's pretty good. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Country Mama Musings.
That's Alicia. Yep.
Alicia. Yes. If you can find old chest freezers. Yeah, that is a great idea for storing feed. I never thought of that.
Where's that? I didn't see that.
Right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that is a good. Yeah, because nothing's going to get in those. That is a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Peter, our piglet, is sleeping in large dog kennel in our garage. We use pet crates for everything. Yeah, we ended up getting a really big pet crate that someone gave us, and they were like, just keep it. We don't need it. We don't use it. And we were like, all right, sure. Put it in the front seat of the truck when I went to go get Eleanor and Fiona, and I pulled the shifter down in the truck, and I said to Ryan, I said, this is just dangerous. I can't even see out. So we ended up putting them in the back, but luckily the weather cooperated. So, let's see. Yeah, the prices of everything 2x4 are crazy compared to before 2020. Yeah, no kidding. Tom says cheap when they're fried. You're handy too, Randy. Probably fix them. LOL. Freezers. Yeah, that's a great idea. In fact, we have when freezers were something we couldn't find. Yep. When freezers were something we couldn't find, we ended up, Ryan talked to somebody at work, and he ended up getting a freezer for dirt cheap, and it doesn't even have the lock on it, but we use it and it works great. So, hey, Fowler Farm, thanks for coming. We appreciate it. Hey, Jake, welcome. Glad to have you here. Jake Klein's in the house. And Tina Ladybug was saying, I work at Lowe's, and it's so sad that the prices have went way up, almost 5 times more as it is. Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, it's just insane. And, if you're living the homestead and lifestyle, you try to do things on the cheap, trying to think. For example, we go to a local feed store, and we were buying bags of, swine feed. So when we first started buying them, they were little, they weren't going through them too much. And then finally I turned around and I saw everybody on YouTube is buying pallets of feed, right? Or they're doing bulk feed. So I finally went over to him and I said, hey, what are you going to do if I buy a pallet of hog feed? We've got 2 pigs. Of course, then lo and behold, we got 3. Now we have 5. So, I mean, it worked out really great because we saved almost $2 a bag on that. We don't have the storage for bulk feed, but to get a pallet of feed that we can put in our garage, and that's been working out really, really great. So we're real excited about that. And it's really convenient because we've got it there. So, and yeah, Tina Ladybug, go for damaged appliances, scratch or dented. We've always done that. Especially if it was something like a washer or a dryer, we're not too concerned. So yeah, that works really good. And Alicia said, can I just say I have a hard time remembering everyone's name? Yeah, chemo brain still affects me. Don't worry about it, Alicia. We know your intentions are wonderful. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We really like to do that. And I think even when like I said, we bought the fence panel and, we bought the fencing. We're not in a rush to do it. We don't just go out and get it. So this was Memorial Day weekend. We got online and we knew that we needed to do fencing. And we said, let's take a look and see who's got the cheapest panel. So yeah, we had to drive an hour to Rapid City to get it, but we've got a trailer. But the good news is we were able to look online, see who had the cheapest price. We're lucky because we have Fleet Farm, which is a really big store. I think they're big in Wisconsin. I'm not sure where else they are. Tractor Supply, we know, is everywhere. However, Tractor Supply, we find has really cheap prices on some things, not so cheap on others. For example, their bags of shavings can't be beat, I found, for us. And then we have a Baumgars, which is like a Tractor Supply. So either way, we have to travel an hour to do all of that. Diesel's barking because Ryan walked away. That dog is insane. But what are some other thrifty things you guys have done? I'd love to know, because I think it's really, really cool to, collaborate with folks and get all these ideas. How about you guys, LG or Fowler? Love to hear. Oh, Tina said, same here with the chemo brain, country mama. See, Alicia, you're not alone. But yeah, I think it's been really cool. I think we've done a lot. We've got a 2 acre. So I just want to catch, in case for some new subscribers, I had advertised that we would talk a little bit about ourselves. So we lived we originally are from Connecticut. We were married in Connecticut, and we ended up moving to North Carolina for Ryan's work. And we lived near Asheville, North Carolina from about 2011 to 2019 for you, 20 for me. I know that sounds kind of weird, but Ryan got a work opportunity to come out here in South Dakota, and he ended up coming out in March of 2019, and then he would commute home. And then I didn't come out until January 2020 when we bought this property. Obviously, I came out here, but I didn't live here. So we ended up buying this house, and the joke of it is we originally said we didn't want the buildings on the property. It's 2 acres. It's off a main road because of commuting, because I have to commute to Rapid City, which is about an hour. And last year when the pandemic hit, we were walking by some chicks, and I've always joked about getting chicks. I never really wanted them, I'll be honest. And then last year when we were walking by, I said, ooh, let's get some chicks. So we had the buildings, we ended up getting chicks. So
then the pandemic was a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
I was, like I said, I planned too much, I guess, and I got very nervous about the food supply when there was meat shortages and prices were inflated, and not knowing what was going to happen. And I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I don't want to belabor the point, but
yeah,
I just wanted to make sure, having the skill set, that we weren't going to have to worry about having meat or vegetables or anything like that. So we do plant several small gardens, and we have the meat birds and the egg layers. And this year we added pigs. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it, as well as the necessity of having that available. But I guess I don't know where I was going. But anyway, yeah, so about ourselves, but that's what we wanted to, we did some more research and such, and that's how we, I guess, got on this road of having our own small homestead.
And what do you always say? You said you're the person who you're the guy who puts everything together. Yeah. And I'm the one who researches.
Yeah. Lisa's the researcher. I make it happen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We work good together in that respect.
Oh, so I wanted to go back to the comments. Go ahead.
One thing about this is one of the main things I had forgotten about on the topic here, but I guess growing up in Connecticut when I was younger, back in the days when we still had there were still landfills and dumps, we would take our trash there on Saturdays, and it was some Saturdays we would come back with more than we went with. We go with a half a dozen bags of trash and some other stuff, but we'd come back with lawnmowers, shovels, whatever there was. But today I know some states that recycle, and I guess there are some landfills, but that's always a great place to go pick around and look if they allow it. I know some places they do have a section where there's stuff there, and it's like almost like an ongoing yard sale. But there's landfills, transfer stations, that kind of stuff is recycling yards is also a great place to look for things.
Yep. I want to go back to the comments real quick. So yeah, Country Mama Musing said there's Fleet Farm here in Iowa. Do you go to them a lot, Alicia? Because I don't know about you guys. We really like Fleet Farm. We like that we have a choice, and we like that we can look at Baumgart's, Tractor Supply, Fleet Farm. We also have a local feed store who's got some good buys. And Runnings. That's right, Runnings. Runnings is really good too. So we were able to go to all of them and see who's got the best buy on cattle panel or if hog panel, which we really like. Fowler Family Farm said we buy bulk feed from a local feed store and have it put into a 55-gallon barrel. Yeah, I don't blame you. We have metal cans, so we haven't, knock on wood, we've not had a problem with mice. But when I said we bought that pallet of hog feed, that's been really helpful. And now that the car is not in the garage, we'll have room for layer feed because we have 25 chickens now, so we're going to need more room for that. And it's such a time saver. But what we do is we keep the feed in the garage. That's the pallet. The other ones we keep in a spare room in the back of the house. It's like an insulated room.
Yeah. We
put that back there because we find that we don't have an issue. And then what we do is we use the side-by-side, we bring it down to the grain barn, and we bring it down there. We have metal cans, 2 metal cans, a plastic recycling can, which locks. And then we have one of those totes that has the handles. So I'll have to show you guys about that.
I see that. Alicia, I love going to the dump for treasures. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I guess I was into that kind of stuff, but yeah, I thought it was great. I think growing up, I don't think we ever bought a new lawnmower. And the same when we first got married too. We never, the first new lawnmower we had was when I left Connecticut to go to North Carolina, and Lisa had to mow the yard. She wasn't interested in tinkering and trying to get the thing started. So I did buy a new lawnmower, but it wasn't new. It was at a Sears store. Someone had purchased it online. It wasn't what they wanted, and it was there in the front of the store as half price. So, but it was new to us, and it started. So that's how we ended up with that. I've
come full circle. I want you to know, because I grew up in Queens, so I've always had the city mentality, and I marry Mr. Country Boy here who never bought a lawnmower. And every time I go to start it, it doesn't start. And there was one that wouldn't start one time, and he came home from work, and it was on the road, on the side of the road, and it said free.
Yeah, so that was my cue that I needed to get something that would start for Lisa while I was gone.
Country Mama said she made her own water filtration system for the house. That's really cool.
Oh, wow.
And I know that she made a Berkey. You didn't watch it, but I watched the video on it. The Berkey, with the water filtration system, the metal. Mm-hmm. She made it out of 2 pots with the filters, and it was a lot cheaper because she was saying that the Berkey company could not ship it to Iowa because of some regulations. Isn't that insane? Yeah, Aaron, I think I caught your cough.
No shame in my game. I agree with that.
Yeah, and Alicia said we've done a lot in a short amount of time. We have. I mean, this was May 1st last year. We started this, and we started with chickens, and we got the baby chicks. We had a dozen chicks, and we had the coop, and we ended up redoing all of the coop, cleaning it out, redoing the inside, and so on. And we got the dozen chicks. And, I remember Ryan being like, They require a lot of care. And I was like a kid, he thought I was like a kid. It was going to pass. And then, here I am. I trained them to come when I called them and all that stuff. And it was really funny. And then we ended up getting, what did we get next? We got meat birds last year.
Yeah, just the layers and the meat birds last year.
Yeah. So we had 12 layers last year. Then we had 16 meat birds, which were Red Rangers. We did those. And then we're still enjoying those from freezer camp. And then we ended up getting Maggie and Winston because we worked in the fall to get the pig area together. And I know that, who was it? Somebody said, I think it was LG Homestead said, I tend to buy the animal and then frantically come up with the pens and housing. Yeah. I like to do that too. That's why we use multi-purpose buildings.
LG Homestead, how many acres of land? We have 2 acres of land here. The good thing is the house is right at the edge, pretty much at the edge of one end of the property line, and that gives us the whole front, minus the driveway.
Yeah.
So we kind of, as we look at what we're planning on getting, how we set things up, the video we're going to be probably doing in the coming days or weeks, preparing an area for the pigs, so that I think if any of you have seen the pictures or the videos, there are a lot of trees in the property. We have cut some down, and there are areas where they're open. And what I'm trying to do is fence around those areas where the animals don't destroy the trees in that spot. That can be difficult sometimes, but I think we got a layout for this one that gives us pretty straight lines where we avoid trees and still give the animals enough room to be able to graze or stay there.
Yep. And Eliza said, I kept the old vintage sink from the garage shop, and now it's a very useful thing on the wall in the garden. I don't mind. It's a little rusted. Works well to wash veggies instead of dragging dirt to the house. That's awesome. Jake Klein said, we say Taylor is the idea person and I'm the doer. Nice. I like it, Jake. I like it. I hope Taylor saw the videos on Eleanor and Fiona. And Erin from Bramble Hill is back. Awesome. And Country Mama said, I'm the project manager, supervisor, and poor hubby is the construction crew.
Yeah, I guess that's some of that here.
Yep. Bramble Hill said, we keep our chicken feed in metal bins too. And Tina Ladybug said, we do have return mowers that customers return after one use that we have to mark down. Let's see here. Country Mama, we use an old dented brown livestock feeder to put our trash in and then burn it once a month. Saves us over $1,000 in dumpster fees a year. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. Little trash too. Bramble Hill also burns stuff. Yeah, Erin, we've totally revamped our whole lifestyle and daily routine. We're really loving it. We've got the 2 acres. We love it. And LG's on 10 acres. Oh, wooded acres. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, Donna Alford, thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming from South Carolina, not South Dakota. And Alicia's got a pack and play playpen, and she uses it for chicken brooders. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and Evan's Family Homestead is here. That's awesome. We got 11 people in here. That's really cool. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think what other stuff. You guys have any questions for us? I'm curious as we wrap this up. We're glad everybody came. We're really excited.
Yeah, thank you. Diesel's excited too.
Oh, Jake Klein said he's got to go. Bye, Jake. Thank you.
Bye, Jake.
And he said, one tip, if you're doing any rain collection for water source, put the tank uphill and the gravity will serve as the pump for water pressure. Awesome idea. Thank you so much. Thanks, Aaron. Yes, everybody
Yeah.
hit that like button. You're awesome. What is the next animal we're going to get? Ryan, what is the next animal we're going to get?
I don't know. I think this year, well, we'll see. It'll probably be more meat birds. But I would say this year I want to really focus on the pigs. Not only the two meat pigs we have, but if the coonies, obviously we bought those with a boar and two gilts to breed them, to see how that goes. But I'd say right now, I think that's it. One of the things I really want to get, and we may in the next couple of years or so, but I always wanted to raise pheasants. So I know, they I don't know that much about them, but I think that would be fun to do. I know having wild pheasant is very delicious, so I would think that domestic, or I guess farm raised pheasant would be good. But that's what I would like to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I don't know, for some of you, you don't know what animals we have. So I'm just going to give a quick recap of what we've got because we just added some new ones. So we have 5 pigs. We have 2 Mangalitsa Duroc Berkshire crosses. We have a female and we have a castrated male. They're brother and sister. They're together, so they're fine. We have Sherman, the Cooney boar. We have Eleanor and Fiona, which are Cooney gilts. We plan to breed them together because they are not related. We made sure of that, but they're from really good bloodlines. Eleanor is registered. Fiona is not. Sherman is not, even though they're purebred, because Sherman did not have any of the wattles. Coonies have those wattles that hang down. He didn't develop any, so he was not registerable. So we bought him. We ended up buying Fiona. Originally, she was supposed to be registered, but she was on the small side. So because she was on the small side, she was not registerable. So we also have 25 laying hens, 11 of which are laying already. We had one that was of the original bunch that was taken by a predator. And then we have the other various breeds, Easter eggers and all that stuff that we got this year. We just integrated them. They're doing great. Thanks to Erin this morning, because I messaged her this morning and I was like, they're all in the corner of the coop. Is that okay? But they're okay. So thanks to Erin there. Yep, 25 laying hens. They haven't started all laying yet, so that's going to be a good one. And then we have, right now in the brooder, we have 30 Cornish cross. We had 20 yesterday because we had our initial order of 30 didn't all make it. And so today we were at the store and we bought 10 more.
Yeah.
So we do have 30 in the brooder, and then we have 5
turkeys.
Bourbon red turkeys. So that's what we have. And then we have a garden and so on. And I know Eliza was asking about, did the hail destroy any of our plants? We didn't have any hail damage this time.
No, I did put hail netting over the one garden, and today planted the other stuff, but or even on that video we did with the floating crop cover. No hail damage yet.
Yeah.
We're trying to we learned last year that we need to cover things here, so we're fortunate this year that we're ahead of it.
Yeah.
The one thing about someone had asked about quail. Yeah, I would consider quail. I haven't done too much, research or anything on those, but we'll see how, things progress. The meat chickens, I really enjoy, especially for their meat, but I would consider quail.
It's funny. LG was talking about, I don't like duck. They're so messy. I've been talking to Erin at Bramble Hill Homestead a lot about this. We got the ducks. They were the cutest things ever. We had 5 of them. Unfortunately, 3 met their demise with a predator. But Erin has really been doing a lot of coaching with me about the ducks, and I really need to listen to her more because she knows what she's doing, because she doesn't have the mess that most people have with ducks. And I really do hope that Erin will do a video on smartly keeping ducks, because I would love to watch it. You know, I've got ducks, and it's just they're gross. They're really gross. But I really do like the two cat, and that's the other thing we have is two khaki Campbell ducks. I really do like them. I mean, they're cute and everything like that. We thought about processing, and we're not sure yet. But they're really cute. And Tom talked about duck diapers. Honestly, the poop doesn't bother me. It's the water everywhere. And I know Erin talked about that ducks can drink from nipple waters, and they can also drink from the other waters. I just don't know enough about ducks. And so I end up having waters. And of course, I'm the one who says, let's get him a pool. So I bought him a pool. What a mess.
I think some of it too with ducks, if you're able to let them free range to some extent, or have, you know, a grassy area other than, you know, something you would keep chickens in.
Yeah, and
they are waterfowl. So if you had a, you know, a pond or a stream or creek running through your property, you know, that would probably, and you're able to get them to come back to the house at night, you know, that would I think would cut down on that. But I could be, you know, I don't know a lot about them.
yeah,
But I know from what we've done that having them in smaller areas equals more of a mess.
yeah. And Erin said pools are fantastic if you can have a very grassy area that it can be absorbed into. It was funny, Erin, I was telling Ryan today that, you know, I said, Erin was saying that if it's a grassy area, it's a much different thing instead of on the mud. And I think that's a huge, huge thing. So, all right. Well, I think we're going to get going, guys. It's about 8:30. I know LG is going to go to bed.
Yeah,
we're getting tired ourselves. We got to do some fencing tomorrow. But really appreciate everybody coming.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a great night. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Erin's got a rubber bowl that we put our de-icer in. That's cool. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you. Awesome.